It's no secret that actors have a very big influence in South Korea, but did you know some of them even managed to change the law? We know that it sounds pretty crazy, but it happened a couple of times. A great example is the enactment of the Lee Seung Gi Crisis Prevention Act, and the name already tells you which actor made sure that this piece of legislation was brought into existence. On the 21st of April of this year, the National Assembly passed this act in order to prevent celebrities from suffering damages as a result of exploitative contracts. It was an amendment to the already existing Popular Culture and Arts Industry Development Act. This amendment would increase financial transparency, basically making it harder for agencies to scam their artists out of their money. The committee's main goal was to target unfair and shady contracts, which aren't uncommon in the entertainment industry. Usually, small companies keep an eye out to trap young, aspiring actors or singers with their exploitative deals. Something similar happened to Seung Gi himself, who was under what's called a slave contract for nearly 18 years. He made a lot of music during his time under the company, but it was revealed he never received a penny for any of his efforts. This situation was brought to light by Dispatch back in November of 2022. They released a report claiming that Seung Gi had not been paid for any of his music gigs for over 18 years by Hook Entertainment. This report even included statements of payment as proof. The public realized something shady was going on when Seung Gi himself requested Hook Entertainment to deliver him a full report of the revenue made from his music-related activities. Eventually, Hook Entertainment transferred Seung Gi a sum of around 5 billion won, which is roughly $4 million, as repayment, without even having reached an agreement with him. As a result of this, Seung Gi took to his Instagram to explain to his fans that this situation wasn't only about receiving the money, it was about being transparent. He wrote, "5 billion has now come in, of course, I have no idea how or on what basis it was calculated." In December of 2022, Seung Gi sued Hook Entertainment for fraud and embezzlement. The money Hook Entertainment paid him was nowhere close to the money they owed him. However, Seung Gi made it very clear that he wasn't battling them for the money, because he let the public know that he will donate all of the money he receives in a way to give back to the community that supported him throughout his career. In response to this controversy, the Lee Seung Gi Crisis Prevention Act was passed, and it made sure to address the unfair practices in the entertainment industry. This new regulation forces companies to provide financial statements to their artists at least once a year. This used to happen only upon request, but after this scandal, that wasn't enough. The act further requires contracts to include details on how the artist gets paid. What's also very important is that this regulation restricts the working hours of underage artists. Previously, minors could be forced to work up to 40 hours a week, but now luckily the maximum has been lowered. This act also prohibits companies from interfering with the education of their younger artists. It also doesn't allow companies to excessively regulate their looks or endanger their health and safety in any way. Although industry officials called these provisions unrealistic, it's safe to say that this act brought some necessary changes to the entertainment industry. Next up is the Goo Hara Act, which is a law that prevents parents who neglected their kids from claiming their inheritance. This act was passed in April of 2021, almost a year and a half after Hara tragically passed away. She was found in her home in November of 2019 and is believed to have taken her own life after having received incredibly hurtful comments by online trolls. The regulation was pushed by Goo Ho-in, Hara's older brother. The reason for this being an ongoing legal dispute within their family about who got to claim her inheritance. In an interview, Ho-in let the world know that their mother abandoned them when they were little and made no effort to be a part of his or Hara's life. They were raised by their grandmother while their father was traveling all over the country to make money to support the family. He explained that when they needed the care and affection of their parents the most, they relied on each other instead. Their father gave his own share of the inheritance to Ho-in, but the mother that abandoned them wanted to claim Hara's hard-earned money and possessions. The mother showed up to Hara's funeral, despite having given up her parental rights back in 2006. She even had the audacity to disturb the ceremony by insisting to be the family's chief mourner, and she kept asking celebrities who attended for autographs and photographs, which only further showed her cold feelings towards her daughter. Ho-in revealed that 2 days later, his mother's lawyer let him know that she wanted to claim half of Hara's inheritance. Dispatch shared Hara's diary entries, and these made it very clear that she was really struggling with missing her mother. Ho-in also shared that it was really difficult for his sister to see their mother again after 10 years. Keeping all of this in mind, it's incredibly understandable that he didn't want his mother to claim her inheritance. As a result of this dispute, Ho-in and his lawyer worked towards establishing the Goo Hara Act, which would focus on expanding the reasons for disqualification to an inheritance. inheritance. Previous laws allowed parents who didn't personally raise or provide for their children to claim their inheritances, so naturally they wanted to change this. Unfortunately, any changes in the law wouldn't apply to their own family case, but that didn't matter, because Ho-in clearly didn't want the same to happen to anyone else. To bring this act into existence, a legislative petition was filed on March 18, 2021. This petition was a call to make the Goo Hara Act a reality, and would need 100,000 signatures from citizens within 30 days to be evaluated by the National Assembly. Thankfully, it reached the designated amount in less than a month. The act was passed a month later, making Ho-in's efforts not go in vain. Another actress that inspired the creation of a new law is the late Sulli, who was also a former member of girl group FX and an actress. The police found Sulli in her home in October of 2019, and it seemed like she had taken her own life just a month before her friend Goo Hara did the same thing. Many knew she had been struggling with severe depression for quite some time, and this wasn't getting any better since she continuously received malicious comments online. Sulli was a very outspoken idol who often didn't abide by the strict social norms in Korea. Because of this, she became the target of online trolls who often criticized her for her looks and behavior. Even though Sulli had asked her agency to initiate legal action against these malicious comments, there wasn't much they could do since most of these users were anonymous. After her passing, South Korea opened up a serious conversation about countering harmful online behavior. As a result of this, 7 petitions were posted on the South Korean Presidential Office website demanding stricter punishments for those who are guilty of harassing others online. Because of the anonymity of online platforms, it's easy for people to lash out at others without thinking about what impact that might have on them. To restrict this type of behavior, the public urged their legislators to strengthen the use of real name systems when posting online. Following these petitions, the Sulli Act was proposed by 9 members of the National Assembly. This bill would help counter malicious behavior online by compelling users to use their real names when posting comments. Additionally, there was a proposal to force communication networks to delete hateful comments from their platforms. The bill was backed up by around 200 celebrities who all had faced similar issues as Sulli. However, there were still many doubts about this regulation because the public was worried about the thin line between combating harmful speech and promoting censorship. Although the idea behind the bill was very heartwarming, creating a functioning regulation was incredibly hard. Sadly, the Sulli Act was never passed by the National Assembly and was eventually put off the table. However, this tragedy definitely made the country put more effort into promoting online safety and punish online criminals more harshly. Last up is the case of YouTuber Pyo Yerim, who unfortunately took her own life in October of this year after becoming very popular in South Korean entertainment. Yerim was a victim of school violence when she was younger, and after watching The Glory, she finally found the courage to speak up about her experience. She revealed she was tormented by 4 female classmates all throughout elementary, middle, and high school. She explained that she was going through torture for years, and even though she repeatedly asked for help, no one was willing to show her kindness, including the adults in her life and her teachers. She even went on BBC Korea to share her story in the hopes that it would spread some awareness. Yerim did so much more than only spread awareness, though. She was one of the most active advocates for the legal rights of victims of school violence. She developed a big following on YouTube partially by calling for changes to the country's laws regarding school violence. She was a firm believer that Korea's statute of limitations should be changed so that perpetrators of school violence could be held accountable for their atrocious acts even years later. She submitted a petition earlier in the year regarding the matter, and a bill was formally introduced in the National Assembly this September. If this bill is passed, victims of school violence get more time to hold their perpetrators legally accountable, since the time on these limitations would only start running once the victim has reached adulthood. Yerim also made efforts to abolish Korea's criminal defamation laws, which allow perpetrators to sue victims who speak up for defamation. This means that in some cases, victims are forced to pay their perpetrators damages for harming their good name, even if the victim is telling the truth. This often prevents victims from speaking up about their experiences, which isn't ideal at all. Although Yerim is unfortunately no longer with us, her legacy continues to live on, and she will be remembered as someone who brought change to the country. Share your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for watching.